Hey everybody, Kuro the Artist here, and welcome back to another Ben 10 breakdown. Alien Force's most notable quality in comparison to the classic series was its ambition to put story arcs first, and not just a passive reward for binging the series. All the episodes fit together like puzzle pieces, primarily held together with the hybrid arc. It also sets up Gwen's dive into the origin of her powers and how she wants to use them, the main trio gradually becoming real plumbers, and of course, the character arcs of Ben becoming a leader and Gwen and Kevin's budding relationship. But sometimes these arcs can get a little bit too ambitious, and then once the network steps in, it can throw a huge wrench in their plans, no pun intended. The first example we come across is with the Dragon plotline, which begins in this episode and is slowly expanded upon in Season 2's pet project, but then it's quickly dropped and never brought up again. It doesn't exactly make the series hard to follow without it, but it's clear that all these clues in these episodes are supposed to lead up to something, most notably involving the entire planet of dragons mentioned in this episode's final moments.
An entire planet of them. How soon before more wanting revenge?
Dwayne also outright confirmed that these plot elements were going to play a bigger role in Ben 10, presumably in Alien Force's third season, which we all probably know by now didn't exactly happen the way they wanted it to. But in this week's breakdown, let's take a look at what could have been yet another budding plotline. If this is your first breakdown and you'd like to know how my rating system works, there's a detailed description down below along with a link to all of my previous breakdowns. But by all means, watch this video first. I'm sure you'll still enjoy yourself. I got a couple of updates that I'm gonna run through as quick as I can, and then we'll get straight to the breakdown. First thing I want to mention is actually a strange update. It's just something I came across online that I really want to share with y'all. So there's this Ben 10,000 fan animation online by Lux, and it's like pretty elaborate. It's 15 minutes long and it's fully animated. It's got a full voice cast and it's fantastic, and it has like barely any views. I'm hoping to shine some light on it. It uses music cues very effectively. It looks like there's an actual story going on here. It is in a different language, but there's subtitles, and you know, that doesn't exactly ruin the experience. We do live in an age where people prefer subs over dubs in anime, so there's that. But yeah, if you have a spare 15 minutes, the link will be down below. It's really cool. He didn't even ask me to promote this. I just really want to. Maybe I'll start finding more things in the Ben 10 community to promote weekly. I don't know, it could be a fun segment. But yeah, shout outs to Lux. Great job with your video. Go check it out. Also, next week in Halloween will be our Phantom Fancast, which will be celebrating everything Danny Phantom. We got Steven Silver on as a special guest. Ash and I will be doing a trivia contest where the loser has to eat ghost pepper candy, because, you know, ghosts. And then we'll be dropping Chapter 11 of 5YL. I'm so excited about this. Really hope you tune in, and we'll see you on Halloween. Lastly, I do want to go over last week's poll where I asked if you felt Max's sacrifice kind of got negated because he survives. Based on the results, a lot of people are really fine with Max surviving, but even for the people that voted they're glad he survives, there's a lot of discussions in the comments of people still interested in seeing what it would have been like if he actually did get killed off. And that's pretty much how I feel. Like I said, I love Max, I'm glad he sticks around, but you can't help but wonder what the alternate version of the show would have been if he really did die. Stick around to the end of the video to see my personal picks for the names of Kevin's car submitted by y'all, but first, a word from our sponsor.
Ever get that sneaking feeling that you're being watched? That's probably because you are. No, not by some random person, but by your ISP, you dingus. That's where Atlas VPN comes into play. Much like the rest of you, I enjoy my privacy when browsing the internet. With Atlas VPN, they encrypt your data and give you a new IP address when choosing one of their many servers, so you can browse safely and anonymously. Atlas has a special going on where you can get 3 years of service for only $1.39 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And the cool thing is, with Atlas VPN, they have a data breach monitor feature where you can put in your email and see which websites your data has been compromised, so you can quickly assess the issue and resolve it. And I know a lot of you enjoy Rick and Morty, but you can't find it on Netflix. That's not an issue anymore. With Atlas VPN, you can connect to their UK server and enjoy Rick and Morty to your heart's content. Again, there's a deal going on where you can get 3 years for only $1.39 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so be sure to act fast. Click the link in the description below and sign up today.
On July 12th, 2008, the episode Be Knighted had premiered on Cartoon Network, written by Stan Berkowitz, the first of his little collection of episodes that he's written all the way up to Omniverse. The Forever Knights have been trying to kill this dragon prisoner for 1,000 years and seek out help from the trio to assist in them executing the final blow. But upon further investigation, it appears the dragon is wearing a broken translator, and when Ben gets that fixed, it turns out the dragon has his own side side of the story. With two opposing conflicts and Ben stuck in the middle, he's put in a pretty tough spot. Let's see how he handles it. It's a really cool location, but I wonder how they get up this mountain. Doesn't look to be any pathways or anything.
Forever Knights have existed 1,000 years.
Actually pretty true. Also, these knights are obviously copy and pasted, but their outline thickness looks very similar, so I may be wrong, but I think they're converted to vectors instead of pixels. For those that don't know the difference between pixels and vectors, the simplest way I could explain it is like when you zoom in on a web page, you know how some images just get pixely and others still look as sharp as when you're zoomed out? It's because pixels are just a finite image that when you zoom in, you literally are looking at what it looks like closer. Whereas vectors, when you zoom in on an image, you're simply just making it bigger, and the whole image transforms and recreates itself as the size you extended it to, so it's always top quality. Actually, this image I just found on Google explains it perfectly, so pause the video, there you go.
But a single goal.
Single goal? Old George would like to have a word with you. So while in Classic, the Forever Knights was more of a code name or aesthetic for them, like they did wear chainmail and stuff, but they were more or less modernized. These knights are full-on medieval. They're doing the whole old-timey spiel. I kind of like them both. Going full-on medieval does make them more interesting, but in return also makes them kind of less of a threat. Which version of the knights do y'all like more? The Classic series modernized knights, or Alien Force's full medieval knights? Let me know in the comments below.
Are you ready, Connor?
Connor's uniform is basically a regular knight's uniform, but with a golden emblem, a cape, and some gloves, but still makes him visually distinct. Actually a really sweet uniform, not gonna lie. I'm digging the look of this.
Throughout our history, powerful weapons available on Earth and beyond.
See, like, these two schmucks are holding swords, and this guy's got a big-ass alien rifle. It's like, I don't know, maybe that's the point, that it is ridiculous. But also strangely cool. I don't know. The knights are weird characters.
None has worked.
So none of the weapons they've tried to kill the dragon, they're talking about the dragon, by the way, they're just being ominous about it right now, have worked, which means this dragon is pretty powerful. I'd like to see Ben turn into one of those.
You're the bravest of us all, Connor.
Isn't the king supposed to be the bravest? Yeah, see, this is nuts how their door is operated by actual chains. I feel like the Classic Series knights would still have, like, you know, motorized doors. But again, you know, it does make it more interesting. Although the smoke trail at the bottom here doesn't exactly line up with the floor. Connor looks a little bit funky in this helmet. I know he's supposed to be like looking up, but it looks like his eyes are all the way up here. I can't imagine what his head looks like underneath this helmet.
Aim for the heart.
Yeesh.
It's chained.
So every weapon, both alien and extraterrestrial, they've tried to kill the dragon with didn't work, but chains can hold it back? I guess it's different getting fired at versus, like, you know, withstanding the grip of something pulling you down, but I mean, chains really shouldn't cut it for me, at least. They could have just said it was like some type of crazy energy rope like the cuffs that they have, and we would have bought it. It's going in to kill the dragon. Ooh, I like how the gun is the light source. It's changing the color of the outline as Connor walks. That's really neat. Also, do you recognize this jingle? Da, 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 da. It sounds super familiar. I think they use this for the knights a lot, but this is the first time I really started looking for themes in Ben 10. At least in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, it's always just kind of been like miscellaneous orchestra music, but they do have some recurring music cues and themes, and I do think the first couple of episodes do have very unique scores to certain scenes, and then later on they start reusing tracks like crazy. There he goes. Boom. See, there you go. The chains didn't even friggin' work. Rule of thumb, if it's in the dark, its eyes glow, no matter what it is. But you can't not, though. It's such a classic effect. One hit, and he flattened his helmet. How did they hold him for thousands of years? The squire saves the king. Hope he gets credit for that. Oh, see, like, it escaped so easily. I have no idea how they held on to that thing for so long. Also, did it not eat for that 1,000 years? Does it even need to eat? I don't know how alien dragons work.
It's great to have the Omnitrix and all, but there might come a time when it's not enough.
You gotta be friggin' kidding me. This just makes me think of the Omniverse episode where Ben's literally learning to think like this.
I've got the Omnitrix, so I win.
What happens if you ever do not have the Omnitrix?
Luke's got a point, Ben.
It's nuts. I really do love Omniverse, but I feel like every breakdown I have something negative to say about it, and I promise you, it's not on purpose. I feel like I'm fairly negative to all 4 series. It just feels weird being negative towards Omniverse, probably because it's way overhated, but like, you know, when Ben quite literally says,
it's great to have the Omnitrix, there might come a time when it's not enough.
And then 2 series later, in the same continuity, you have a whole episode about Ben having to learn that he shouldn't completely rely on the Omnitrix. It's like, come on, like, I'm at a loss for words. It is cool seeing Ben train in human form, though.
Ha!
See, that was a good kick. It really takes some athletic talent to pull something off like that. Not to mention how well it's animated too. The body stays centered as the kick pushes through. That's nice. And good stance, Ben.
And this is karate.
He's actually right. So this is called kibirachi, also known as horse stance. And the way that he's throwing his punches while also pulling his other arm back, that's some legit techniques. Either the animators or the storyboarders, probably both, knew what they were doing.
I know, Ben. I taught it to you.
Also valid, as we saw Gwen has her black belt in the pilot episode.
Yeah, well, here's some good old Marquis of Queensbury boxing.
Haven't mastered the infinite Tennyson strength quite yet, Ben. Gwen's got you far beat on that.
Headbutt!
Not that way.
She caught that quick.
Okay, fun's over. I just set up a meeting for Ben.
That's Kevin for you. He shows up and he takes charge. Also another nod to the pilot, as we see Kevin does have ties to the Forever Knights, so it's pretty believable he'd be able to set this up. Also, I just realized this is the same gym that they were in the pilot too. So we're at Gwen's school right now.
They paid you to come here and bring Ben to them, didn't they?
So it's the Knights that reached out to Kevin. That somehow makes it better.
Traded them for some alien tech.
Tech that he probably used on his car. So we're starting to set up Kevin consistently collecting alien tech for the big payoff at season 2.
We should at least hear what they have to say.
I think this is the same shot from the pilot as well, except now I can actually see all the details. The rock patterns are slightly deconstructed though between the two versions. When you look at the one from this episode, you can see the rocks are a complete mirror of each other. In fact, this entire castle can probably be split down the middle and flipped over and it would look the same. Whereas the one from the pilot, the rocks don't mirror but instead repeat. Minerals, man.
Most ridiculous story I've ever heard. It's all true.
Ben doesn't believe in dragons with what he's seen. So this little guy right here is voiced by Greg Ellis, and his name is quite simply Squire, or at least that's what he's credited as. Squire is his rank or occupation, whatever you'd call it. His name is never addressed. Also, these pictures are definitely pixels and not vectors.
1,000 years ago, giant fire-breathing beast. They couldn't finish it off.
I wish this was their full logo. Instead of just the infinity symbol, this is a great logo.
Trap it, stone fortress around it.
And that stone fortress somehow held? Perhaps this dragon gets stronger or more durable over time, because like, it's very baffling that all of their weapons over 1,000 years were never able to kill it, but it can be subdued just by a bunch of stones. Yeah, restriction versus force, but still. My cats are cuddling together right now, and it is so cute. I gotta get a picture. There, I'll put this in the video when I'm editing it.
The dragon was invulnerable to every new weapon we tried on it.
Maybe you should have tried throwing stones at it. Also, shout out to these backgrounds. We haven't actually seen the Knight's castle very clearly from the inside, but I can see all of this right now. This is very visually clear.
The dragon escaped.
You're saying you want me to be a knight?
I mean, no, but I mean, they'd probably let you wear some armor if you really wanted to, but they're just asking you to snipe this dragon.
Do I get some of that cool armor?
Look at that. Ben is much taller than he should be right now. I mean, I guess you could say he's probably slightly forward towards the camera, but I don't know, I'm not quite buying it.
This is Connor, the greatest of all the Forever Knights.
Man, their king must really suck then, huh? I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of a different old-time culture, but like, isn't the king supposed to be the best of them all and lead his army into battle and be able to hold his own? That's why he's the king? Actually, maybe I'm thinking about Vikings, I don't know.
You're the ones asking for help.
You insolent.
He's about to slap the shit out of Ben. I didn't ask you for help, not me, Connor.
The dragon will fall by my hand.
Yeah, but Ben's gotta weaken it first, I guess.
This what?
Oh snap, Ben's gonna fight back. Is Squire seriously taller than Ben? Because now he's like further from the camera and he's still taller than Ben. And in that case, Connor's a friggin' giant. See, I'm digging this soundtrack right now. I don't know if this one comes back or not, but it should. Oh, look at that. They do still have some tech. This is a very sweet computer design, too. I'd love to be working off something like this. I'm very into the bulky, complicated sci-fi look, even if it's unnecessary. But also, they have this advanced computer, and they don't have, like, you know, a light in here. No outlets either. Big window right here probably gets cold at night, too. But hey, don't worry. They can still go to Lyoko.
Military frequencies.
Where is this camera getting this footage of the planes? Do they got a drone flying as fast as the plane, like right outside of it? Now, that's some good smoke animation. Mwah. And this is our first clear look at the dragon. Before, he was shadowed pretty hard. And this still isn't exactly clear, but you know, he's not covered in shadows. Now it's just like screen grain and all that. Also, so glad the military has all of these different camera angles for us. The camera's even perfectly tracking this plane. See, they could have just started with 1 or 2 angles with this TV filter on it and then just bring us into the scene maybe here and it would be fine. But the fact that they keep the TV filter over all of this is implying that they're literally watching all of this footage on some type of camera somewhere that are just everywhere, getting every angle. You thought missiles could fight the dragon? Perhaps you should have tried a stone wall. This smoke is going by super fast too. It was probably animated to be much slower and they sped up the footage. The way these bullets are reminds me of the laser weapons from the end of the classic series. Like those diamond gun things the criminals had. What's up, Momo? Right here, you can see his translator, but it's blacked out. In fact, let me go back earlier. I wonder if you can see his translator in all the shots. Not right here, but that's far away, so that's acceptable. Here, you only see his stomach for 1 frame, so I guess you wouldn't want to draw it there either. But we got it for this shot. Yeah, try the missiles again. This is another shot where using the fire as a light source probably would have benefited the scene. Like, his face should be lit up right now. Oh yeah, they made it. Woo! They still just got regular cars though. They could have put like a little horse ornament or something on the hood here. You're ruining the theme. There it is. Now he's in full view along with his translator.
All you need to do is stop it. Connor will take care of the rest.
Oh, so quite literally, Ben weakens it and Connor kills it. That's their plan. All right, let's see how that goes.
What's it gonna be this time? Humongosaur?
Not a bad choice here. If a circumference of rocks can hold this thing back, then full-grown Humongosaur can definitely pin this guy down.
Nah, Humongo's too close to what I'll be fighting.
But to try to defend Ben's point as well, if this thing really has been able to resist all the weapons they've tried on it for 1,000 years, then perhaps he would be evenly matched with Humongosaur's strength and they would just be caught in a game of tug-of-war or something. But I can't help but wonder, like, if he was full-grown Humongosaur, if he, like, got behind him, grabbed onto his wings, and then whoosh, maybe that'd do it.
Gotta figure that thing's had a lot more experience being a dragon than I have.
So you see and hear him cycling through the Omnitrix.
That thing's had a lot more
but no hologram. Hey, there we go, that's the hologram. Although normally holograms are always in the same position and they build from the feet all the way to the head. But with this one, Chromastone actually comes out of the Omnitrix. Like the hologram is built down here and he just lifts up. That's also pretty cool. Except the hologram's facing the wrong way again. Chromastone! So I set up these 2 frames so I can compare the height difference between Ben and Chromastone, but Chromastone's so tall that they need to raise the camera when he transforms. So what he's shooting looks like fire, but when it impacts Chromastone, you can hear it's some type of energy. Unless that's the sound effect of Chromastone defending himself. It's an interesting sound. Oh, you know what? That was probably Chromastone absorbing the energy. But it looks very different. This is the first time we really see him do it. And he's got a bunch of hazy blues and yellows. Not quite the rainbow effect we get later on, but this is still pretty neat. Almost gives off a radioactive feel to it. With all these different primary colored fumes. Connor's locked.
Ben's too close to the dragon.
Pity.
If it's a focused laser though, should it matter? Look at the size of the nozzle. That's about like this big. And when he shoots, it doesn't look like it cones, keeps the same distance. Until we get to here, then suddenly it's like, you know, a couple yards thick. Then we get here and it looks like it's everywhere. So perhaps the nozzle does cone. But Chromastone can handle it. I love the lighting here. The shadows move and they're tinted red. The one thing that would help though is if the background was also tinted. Let me see if I can do something about that. All right, so this seems to help a little bit, but now is it too red? I really don't know. I guess it could go either way, honestly, but it's nice to see. Also, Squire is not for killing the dragon. He cares about his animals. Good for you, Squire. Also kind of looks like it's starting to get brighter out. How long have they been here? This dragon just casually has the same durability as Chromastone. Oh my god, Gwen, seriously? She should have done that grab attack she does and take the weapon out of his hands, not just, you know, blow up a friggin' building. Granted, it was an accident, but still, like, jeepers. Oh, that's neat. Chromastone shrinks as he transforms to Ben. So we've seen them do an effect where they actually draw the morph to change him back and then put the bubble effects on it. We've seen them do the thing where they blur and fade him out and then add Ben. Now they're shrinking the art to correspond with Ben. All these are good though. Like anything's better than just a simple flash. God, Connor is massive.
You know where the dragon's headed.
Love the way Humongosaur's drawn though. Drew definitions on his knuckle skin and on his nail. Good shit.
You're trying to scare us.
What a power move. See, I can't lie though, it would be pretty dope to see this Humongosaur take on the dragon. He might have even won. So maybe Ben actually should have done brute force, ironically.
6200 Prospect Boulevard, where the 12 and 408 freeways meet.
I'm gonna look up that address in the final thoughts just because I don't feel like it right now.
The Knights found a huge relic at the same time they called the dragon. They didn't know what it was or what it did, so they hid it in the safekeeping. They sent the relic to our lab to see if it had any technology they could use against the dragon. When it flew across the Atlantic, we figured it was connected to the relic somehow. Wait, I almost forgot. They think the relic's alien, but they haven't figured out what it does yet.
God, Squire's just giving them everything.
You're saying the dragon was trying to talk.
I knew I'd seen one of these before.
And Ben just knows Kevin has one in his trunk? Maybe there was an off-screen adventure where they picked one of these up.
Galvin Universo Translator.
Hey, Galvin. It was always neat hearing Alien Force mention the original series back in the day.
Translates any language into any other in real time.
You know, we almost have the technology to do that. There's some prototypes out there right now. They don't exactly work flawlessly, but something like this can exist in real life probably a lot sooner than we'd realize. And that would be so cool. That's definitely gonna make communication on a species-wide level, like, much more efficient, culture learning, communication. Ah, I can't wait. These things are gonna be sweet. Probably gonna record everything you say though and send it to the government though, so you know, pros and cons.
The dragon had something like this, but it looked busted.
Probably because they threw a rock at it.
Replace the broken one with this one.
Now this is a very good background for Alien Force, especially since it goes by super fast, but all these buildings have their own design and detail. Good shit, Alien Force. Ben's missing a nostril. And this is an action pose for his holograms. Every now and then his holograms are like in some sort of unique pose, but normally it's just them standing. And while this is a cool hologram, I do like consistency, so it's a bit bothersome. And it's facing the wrong way. Ah, a unique transformation. Now we get the forward-facing ball. And this one's fully unique from the get-go. No reused animation from other transformations. I would have liked to see the socket split, then zoom in and out. But, you know, standards are low right now. But I always loved this, seeing his arms split in half and then grow into 2 full arms. There's something always neat about the fact that Alien Force's transformations show the skeleton.
Spider Monkey!
This is also Spider Monkey's first appearance. He's so excited he just jumps up and down in one spot. Jungle music. Great backgrounds too. Look at this one. This is the perfect level of brightness that the background should be at. It's also a smart choice to go Spider Monkey too, since one hand can always be on the translator. So when I watch this slowly, the laser-ish effect for his tail does seem odd, but in motion, it doesn't really look like a laser. It's just an exaggerated force. Like this. See, it looks fine in motion. But I wonder how his web is smart enough to start spreading at the exact right time to catch him like this. Here we see Kevin absorbing some metal, but no sound effect for it. This is the second time they've forgotten it, so it's very easy to miss. Also, he's holding on to a piece of wood. He reaches his hand down, and it doesn't let go as he lifts this piece of wood up, yet he does cover himself in metal. Maybe they didn't put a sound effect there on purpose to distract from this error, or they just got a double whammy error right there. See, their quantum laser or whatever was barely able to push the dragon back, but Kevin throwing wood actually moves his neck. Looks like blunt force is the way with the dragon. Also, for some reason, they drew Gwen's hands on a different layer when she forms the shield, even though normally they're always supposed to be behind it. So they went out of their way to do an error here. That's interesting. Got him.
Leave me alone! Of course I can talk.
Who's the dragon voiced by? Clancy Brown? I probably should have heard a little bit more of it to see if I can guess, but that's awesome. He was Kenko in the original series, so this is his second role in Ben 10. Oh yeah, and he's also that crab guy.
Well, I thought you were a,
Oh wow, that is not Spider Monkey's voice. This is his first appearance, so they're probably still workshopping it, but that's much closer to Jet Ray. Like, I swear, I've never heard Spider Monkey this low before.
Well, I thought you were a,
I'm gonna try pitching it up.
Well, I thought you were a,
not quite. You would have to just do it. Pitching can't fix that.
Oh, I don't really look like this.
Hey! Alright, see, that looked like on command. That did not look like he was timing out. And it kind of seemed mental. I know he does touch his chest, but he touches it as a gesture to be like this. I don't think he's actually, like, hitting the dial.
I don't really look like this.
Yeah, I swear he's doing that mentally. He's definitely transforming back on command now, and not coincidentally turning back to human. Which, if you haven't heard that spiel, you know, I'll save it for another video. Or I might have already said it, I don't know.
All mammals look alike to me.
Yeah, there's no way I'd be able to tell that's Clancy Brown. Maybe I haven't heard his voice enough.
I want my ship. My tracking signal says it's here.
What's he tracking it with? All he had on him was a broken translator. Maybe it's a mental connection?
The knights attacked me for no reason, locked me up in that dungeon.
Ah, poor guy. So how do you feel that now that his voice is translated to English, his mouth movements also matches what he's saying? It's purely a visual thing. Like, realistically, his mouth would just be doing whatever it normally does, and you'd hear his voice out of the translator. But now it's presented as if he's speaking these words. I'm fine with it. It'd probably be annoying if it was just, you know, treated like it's coming through the translator the whole time, but it's something to point out.
I wouldn't be caught dead in that stupid armor.
Well,
you're a map maker?
Why else would anyone come to this insignificant rock?
Ask the Hybrid, or the Mycelium, or the Limax, or even Slick's Vigma's Mega Cruiser. Like, yeah, he's been locked up for 1,000 years, so he probably doesn't know about any of that stuff. Not that he would anyways, even if he was around. I mean, most humans don't even know about all that. But that makes me realize he's the first one to come to Earth for a non-chaotic reason. He was here just to make a map.
Not a single Forever Knights left alive.
Oh, he can actually make his eyes glow. All right.
The whole thing
is
Misunderstanding?
Maybe misunderstanding's a little too weak?
Absolutely. I mean, they locked this dude up for like 1,000 years. Morality aside, like that's gotta do something to you mentally.
It's a long time to be away from your home. Baby's probably flying by now.
Oh, yeah, I really feel for this dragon. See, they're keeping him wrathful, but still sympathetic. The dragon's a great character. Why couldn't they name this dragon? He's just the dragon. They could give him all this backstory, but not a name.
If we just skated out of here right now, say anything.
I would.
Yes, that is Ben Tennyson. And that is Connor. So I slowed this down to point out that the knights are using the same laser lances that Kevin sold to them in the pilot episode. But then I noticed, watch these two knights. They move at separate frame rates.
Just wants to go home.
You know, this is really reminding me of the plotline for Prisoner 775 is Missing, the Guantanamo Bay episode. It'll be a while before I break down that, but I'll try to remember to bring up this comparison when I get to it. There's his ship, there's his map.
You don't have to do
But
this.
I want to. You would too.
You're probably right.
And you know, anybody would. Like, I'm someone who never feels like they can fully justify, like, intentionally murdering somebody. But at least Ben understands that if you were in his position and some freaks just locked you up for 1,000 years and you've just been meditating on that thought for so long, like, yeah, it might push you to become, like, vengefully murderous. And I like that Ben's not telling him he's wrong for feeling that, because that's the most realistic point of view. I'm glad they're not ignoring it.
So do yourself a favor.
So, like, why does he need this gun? Pretty sure he can take them all with just his fire breath. Or maybe their armor can resist, like, and that's how they've been able to hold them down. Because when I think about it, if his fire breath could kill them all, maybe they wouldn't be able to capture him in the first place. It definitely wasn't able to take out Chromostone. I don't know, it's just it's just a bit goofy seeing a dragon hold a gun.
I took an oath passed down through 50 generations. We live to destroy that dragon.
Unfortunately, I'm aware that I have some homophobes that watch my channel. Just so y'all know, this is how fucking stupid y'all sound when you're like, oh, but it goes against my tradition. Yeah, but it's still, like, wrong. Right here, they're reusing the same knight shot again. What happened to your martial arts, Gwen? Also, in the last episode, you casually blew up a truck. Like, this guy should not be getting the best of you. Oh, my woman! Ooh, and he didn't absorb anything either. He punched this guy bare knuckles.
Time out.
Alright, so if Kevin covered in stone can take a point-blank blast from this rifle, then maybe it wasn't as hot shit as they thought.
I could turn into Humongosaur, but I'm not going to. You're not a monster. You're a map maker.
Gwen's eye color changes between these two shots. Oh, look at that. The ship starts turning gold when it starts moving. So in this shot, when we look at the gun, it doesn't have a black outline. In fact, it looks cut out from somewhere. And it's above this rock. Like, I think they forgot to put the gun in this shot and then slapped on an image from its model sheet or something.
How did you get the dragon to go?
I used my head.
Headbutt, huh?
And back to the castle. Holy crap, there's this many knights? Now you can tell these images are model sheets superimposed onto the pictures because they are at a much lower resolution than everything else. This is also the second time that a Forever Knights episode ended on a cliffhanger with the knights intending to spy on the Tennysons and it doesn't go anywhere. How many times are they gonna try this? So look how big his feet are compared to the photos. They definitely were not this size when Connor threw them at him before. Yep, there's that Forever Knight jingle. Oh, Squire. The Forever Knights return to a 3 in plot. Now, honestly, I really enjoyed this episode. I'm not a huge fan of the Forever Knights, but regardless, this is still a pretty basic plot. Pretty status quo with other plots that get a 3 as a score. It was handled nicely, just wasn't special. There's honestly not too much I can say about it. I do like the small narrative of Ben using the headbutt. Not exactly the most quintessential lesson that Ben needs to learn, but like he already went into the episode knowing that the Omnitrix isn't enough. But it was less about Ben needing to learn to use his human form and more that Ben should learn to always use his head first above anything, which he kind of already does in Alien Force, so it's a bit of a redundant lesson. Although I do like when the dragon gets the translator and we see his side of the story, Kevin actually brings up a very great point that all of them really have nothing to do with this and they could just leave and let whatever happens happen, which is where I think the whole theme of this episode comes into play, where it's not about Ben either fighting his enemies or even talking them down, because the dragon's not his enemy to begin with. It's really more about if you were put in the position where you can do something to help even though there's no negative consequences. I keep going back and forth on what I want to say here. I pretty much covered all of my thoughts during the breakdown itself. It's just, you know, this was a pretty average episode. It was fine. Characterization though does get a 4. Like I said, I really like how all these characters handled their situation, especially with the dragon. Like the dragon isn't just a black and white character. He's driven to such a vengeful mindset, but that's simply just because of his 1,000-year quarantine inside of the knight's prison. But it doesn't exactly actually drive him to be evil. He has all of these pent-up emotions, and he feels like if he doesn't kill all the knights, then him being trapped away for 1,000 years was all for nothing. And all of it was completely unjustified, which he's right about too. But you can tell, even when he's at his lowest, he still has a pretty coherent view on his situation. He's not super angry and lashes out at Ben when he tries telling him his plan. He's simply explaining to him like, this is what they did to me, I have to do this. He's not just like, I'm so angry, I'm just gonna friggin' murder everybody, you know? And Ben understands his pain and doesn't try to negate it either. He flat out says like, yeah, you're probably right, but it's still not a good thing to do. Because doing something like that fully changes who you are, and he puts the dragon in control of the kind of person he wants to be. When you look at all the other characters, you know, Gwen and Kevin, they are in character, but they do kind of take the back seat for this. Ben's character arc is nice, but very unnecessary, and gets negated later on. And you know, the knights are just the knights. Visuals, it pains me, but I'm giving it a 3. I've been ripping on the backgrounds for the past couple episodes, and this one really turns things around, but everything else is just not spectacular. Alien Force is still leaning heavy into the mystery themes of the episode, so not a lot of action, not a lot of fascinating locations. Character designs were all right, but a lot of the same stuff we've been seeing before. It was just, you know, an average visual episode. Importance will break the Alien Force tradition of getting a 5, and this one goes straight down to a 1. I couldn't quite give it a 0 because there are benefits to watching this episode, but not only is this episode not as important as the other ones we've broken down so far, this episode is also just very skippable. If you didn't watch it and you just moved on with the series, you wouldn't really be lost. Maybe it's because the dragon plotline never went anywhere and they were putting a lot of eggs in their basket for this, so this episode has nothing left to show for it. But regardless what happened, this just doesn't cut it for your quick binge list. And entertaining, I can only give it a 2. It's just barely captivating enough to get you to sit through the episode, but you know, it's very cliche, nothing exciting really happens, and there's just so much exposition that doesn't go anywhere. I can't quite give it a 1 because the main trio's chemistry is still charming enough to get you through it, and the final scene with the dragon, you know, it's what the episode's investment is for, but beyond that, it's kind of a dull episode. That leaves B Knighted off with a 13 out of 25. Numbers are starting to drop here. Let's move on to the final thoughts. So while I was going to look up the locations and the final thoughts, one of my Discord mods, The Heat, actually did it for me. Let's play that address clip again real quick.
6200 Prospect Boulevard, where the 12 and 408 freeways meet.
So The Heat was able to find Prospect Boulevard all the way down in California. Although upon rechecking, it turns out there's a whole collection of Prospect Boulevards. But Squire also mentions 2 freeways which do have their locations placed in California. Whether or not this episode was written with these addresses to turn out to be real from the first place is confirmed or not, it's at least still interesting that we were able to plug them into a map and find them. Honestly, that's all I got for final thoughts. I'm pretty exhausted from this week. This whole month, honestly. I mean, we're releasing a lot on Halloween, and we got another special project dropping shortly after Chapter 11. I've been keeping a lid on it, and I'm so excited for it. But I'm gonna close things out with a montage of my favorite Kevin car names, and then I guess I'll see y'all next week. So until next time, keep it fizzy.